Now we have came till Article 21. Right to freedom of person. As we have seen, what does this term phrase right to freedom of person, right to freedom of person, this phrase means? It means liberty to person. And we have seen that three articles, Article 20, Article 21 and Article 22 are the part of right to freedom of person. Now right to freedom of person also means the person which is arrested. One is the person who is free. This person is free, like you are free now, you can enjoy your rights. Your right to freedom of movement and residence has not been restricted by any law. Such are the free people in the society. But think about people who have done some criminal activity, and because of that they have been put on the trial and they are in the jail. Their freedom of movement, Article 19 clause 1 subclause D, has been curtailed. They are not been allowed to move freely within the society, but they have been confined within the jail. Does that person also have the right? What kind of rights does that person have? Or the manner in which they have been arrested, the procedure which has been followed in arresting them, was it due? What was it proper, justful or not? That is all is contained under Article 22. We have already studied Article 20 and Article 21. Three basic principles which are provided in Article 20, double jeopardy, self-incrimination and ex post facto law, have already been done. Article 21, which talks about right to life and personal liberty, we have covered this topic elaborately. Now Article 22, which is nothing but the extension of Article 21, but it pertains to two cases, the cases of arrest and the cases of detention. So these fundamental rights have been extended to people who have been arrested or who have been detained. That is how we have to see it. See, free people and the people who are being arrested and detained. Now when we see arrested are the people who have done some criminal activity, and because of that criminal activity they end up in jail. Okay, they have been put to the trial, and then the trial happens, and the whole legal drama takes place, and a conviction comes up, and they serve that conviction and they are in the jail. So starting from the arrest by the detaining officer, by the authority who is arresting them, whoever is the investigating officer, and they investigate, and then after the whole warrant is released, or sometimes without warrant also a person is arrested. So the manner in which the person is arrested, whether he has been given the information about the grounds on which he has been arrested, whether he has been provided with lawyer of his choice or not, a legal practitioners, so that he can defend himself, then have he been produced before a magistrate within 24 hours or not. Then one more thing, whether this person has been detained for more than 24 hours without taking the permission of the magistrate or not. All these things are considered in detention and arrest. Now the thing is, detention is a little bit different from arrest. Detention, as we call it, is known as the preventive detention. Article 22 covers this preventive detention, the power of the administration to arrest a person who has not done any criminal activity, who is not linked with a criminal activity because of which he has been arrested, but just on the presumption that he can cause trouble in the society, he can cause law and order problem in the society, that is why he has been confined. And such confinement, such detention cannot be more than for 3 months. after 3 months the person has to, the file of the person has to be submitted to an advisory board which contains member who are eligible to become the high court judges, and they take the necessary decision whether such a person has to be confined for a longer period or not. So there is another clause which says that Parliament can make law, and if Parliament prescribes in the law that a person under preventive detention can be detained for more than 3 months, then that is another issue. So the fundamental rights given to people who have been arrested and who have been detained is covered under Article 22. Now one question arises, how can you say these are fundamental rights when they are already arrested or they have already been detained? So fundamental right is not in preventive detention or criminal detention. This is not fundamental right. Fundamental right is given when the procedure is made just and proper, so that the equality before law and equal protection of law is maintained. So for a person who has been arrested, 3 to 4 things which I just now told needs to be followed. That the person has to be told about the charges on which he has been arrested. Also the person must be given a legal practitioner, a lawyer, a counsel of his choice. He must be allowed. These are all fundamental rights. Why this article has been kept under part 3? Actually, if you see, right to equality, freedom, liberty and all these rights which we have studied under Article 14, under Article 19, under Article 21, they are stopping the state, they are against the state. They are stopping the state from doing any activity which can infringe the fundamental right of liberty, of freedom, of equality of the society. But here in this article, Article 22, you are giving the permission to the detaining authority, to the state, to the administration to arrest a person. If a person is arrested, how can that be called a fundamental right? But to maintain the law and order in the society, there has to be some sort of punishment for the people who are doing wrong. And also to maintain public order, for the security of the state, there has to be some sort of detention on the presumption that a person can cause law and order problem in future. Let's say Babri Masjid judgment is coming and you are the district collector, and there are few people in the society which can cause disturbance in the society. They can be from either community. Or let's say the Ram Janam Bhoomi inauguration is going to happen and you are the district collector, and then you have few people who can cause trouble within the society through speech, through several activity, through assembly, all the rights which have been given under Article 19, they can use any of them to cause trouble. That will be against the public order, that will be hurting the public order. What you should do in such a condition? You will only sit down and watch, or you are going to detain such a person so that no criminal activity or hurt to the public order can take place. So the power has been provided by the Constitution to the detaining authority, to the administration, to use this preventive detention clause, under which a person can be arrested on the presumption that such a person may cause harm to the public order. And the person who have been arrested, the grounds on which he have been arrested shall not be vague. All the grounds shall not be vague. So this is a little introduction. We will go one by one, looking into the clauses. So Article 22, let's see clause number 1 and clause number 2. So clause 1 and clause 2 postulates 4 important rules Now these important rule reflects the fundamental rights which have been provided to the person who have been arrested. What are those rules? Rule number 1 is that any person who have been arrested must be told the grounds on which he has been arrested. Grounds. You cannot give some vague ground, just a ground, you have done something because of which you are inside. You must be told that particularly these are the materials on which we are detaining you. Not necessarily detailed information has to be given, but sufficient information so that the person can defend himself. Why these grounds have been told, why this clause have been introduced? Because if you do not tell a person on what ground he has been detained, you are actually taking away his right to defend himself. That will not be proper criminal justice. A person who have been arrested have all the right to defend himself. Maybe he is innocent, who knows? Maybe the investigation done by the police is not proper. So there has to be some sort of protection to the person who have arrested. There have been many cases everywhere where police have detained a wrong person or arrested a wrong person because all the materials were against him, but later on in the deep investigation it was seen that the person was innocent. So another principle of law, that you are innocent until proven guilty, will not be fulfilled if you do not provide to the person the grounds on which he has been detained, the grounds on which he has been arrested. तो यहाँ पे ज़रूरी क्या है? ज़रूरी ये चीज़ है कि कोई भी व्यक्ति जो कि डिटेनिंग ऑफिसर के द्वारा अरेस्ट किया गया है, उसको तत्काल एज सून एज पॉसिबल, जितना जल्दी हो सके, किस ग्राउंड पे उसको डिटेन किया गया। मर्डर में किया गया तो उसको बोलो 302 आईपीसी की धारा के अंडर, मर्डर के अंडर तुमको अरेस्ट किया जाता है, साथ में ये और ये सबूत है तुम्हारे खिलाफ। अब आपने उसको बता दिया, अब उसके पास है जानकारी कि किस चीज में उसको डाला है। वो कहेगा साहब मैंने ये नहीं किया, तो कहेगा देखिए हमारे पास तो पूरे सबूत हैं, आपने नहीं किया, तो अब आप क्या करिए, अपना लीगल काउंसिल कर लीजिए, और लीगल काउंसिल करने के बाद आप अपने आप को डिफेंड कर सकते हैं। पर एक मिनट के लिए सोच के देखिए, अगर उसको ग्राउंड्स ही नहीं बताएंगे तो वो लीगल काउंसिल का क्या करेगा, और वो लीगल काउंसिल किस बेसिस पे उसको डिफेंड करेगा। सो व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट हियर टू कन्वे the grounds on which the person has been arrested. This is the first thing. Why? So that he can defend himself. This is the basic fundamental right which has been provided. Okay, this is the fundamental right. वो अरेस्ट हो गया है, ये फंडामेंटल राइट नहीं है. It is the power of the power given to the administration to arrest a person or detain a person, but that power is not absolute. The power has to be just, the power has to be reasonable, proper, all those logics of reasonable restriction has to be applied here also. And when these measures are applied, what comes out is these 4 rules. These are rules, cardinal rules which needs to be followed, and if these are not followed, the arrest becomes null and void. The person will be left. The court has the power in such a cases where these 4 rules are not followed properly by the administration, the person can be freed by the court. So the grounds on which the person is arrested or detained so that he can defend himself. The second thing, अब grounds तो आपने बता दिए, what is going to be the second thing? Next चीज क्या होगी? Logically if you see, he must be given the counsel of his choice to defend himself, because the legal system is complex and everybody cannot represent himself in the court. So a next thing comes up is a legal counsel of his choice. There are cases where a person cannot afford a legal counsel. So in countries like Britain, in countries like USA, because of the due process of law, what used to happen was a person has the ability to defend himself also. This was prevalent in India initially only in the criminal matters, only where you have to give the death sentences and the life imprisonments. There, if a person cannot defend himself, the state used to provide the lawyer. But nowadays, because of the due process which has been very duly inserted into the Indian Constitution, everybody who cannot afford a lawyer, the state provides for a lawyer. Why does they do it? Why the state does this? It is because to maintain the criminal justice system and its sanctity in the society. A person can be innocent, and without trial, without proper trial, after the proper investigation, the person cannot be detained or cannot be given a conviction. There has to be a proper trial. And what about a person who doesn't have anything in his pocket, who cannot afford a legal counsel? Such a person, the state provides them with the facility of a legal counsel. Also, there are several lawyers who fight the cases in free. They do not take any money for fighting these cases. So there have been examples from the society, but since we are the welfare society and the due process of law is the basic tenet of our constitution, lawyers, the legal counsels have been provided by the state to the people who cannot afford that. But think about person who can afford that, so they can choose a legal counsel of their choice. A state cannot bind that such legal counsel is allowed and such legal counsel is not allowed. Any legal counsel of his choice who is eligible to represent him, he can choose it. Once the legal counsel has been chosen, then the third rule is very important, that when a person is arrested, such a person has to be produced in front of the magistrate within 24 hours of his arrest. Within 24 hours, he has to be produced in front of the magistrate. Why this clause has been inserted? This clause has been inserted so to apply the legal mind to the arrest as soon as possible. When you have arrested a person, who has arrested a person? Either police or some enforcement agency. Can be CBI, can be RAW, NIA, can be Enforcement Directorate, can be Income Tax Department also. So these are the enforcement agency. They enforce several laws. Income Tax Act enforced by Income Tax Departments, such a the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, ED takes care of that. So these are the enforcement agencies and police. मोटे मोटे तरीके से these are the detaining authorities. So what ends up happening is, these detaining authorities needs to produce the person in front of a magistrate within 24 hours, so that the legal mind can be applied. अभी तो अरेस्ट हुआ है on the basis of investigation. अब इसमें लॉ प्रॉपर इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुई कि नहीं, लीगल वे में ये अरेस्ट पॉसिबल है या नहीं, प्रोसीजर वाज फॉलोड और नॉट, जिस भी ग्राउंड्स पे अरेस्ट हुआ है वो प्रॉपर ग्राउंड्स हैं कि नहीं, वो लॉ के अंडर आते हैं या नहीं, कि पुलिस ने कोई नया सेक्शन बना दिया आईपीसी का और उसके द्वारा अरेस्ट कर लिया. सो दिस लीगल माइंड नीड्स टू बी अप्लाइड, एंड फॉर दैट the person has to be produced in front of magistrate within 24 hours. Now this is important. Let's say if police arrests some person from Madras, from Chennai, we call it Chennai nowadays, from Chennai, and they bring that person to Delhi, and the police is traveling by train. So it takes more than 24 hours for a person to transit from Chennai to Delhi. Then how can he be produced in front of the magistrate within 24 hours? So the time of travel between the arrest and the production of that person in front of the magistrate is subtracted. Let's say a person is arrested in Chennai at 11 a.m. He has been arrested in 11 a.m. with the help of the local police, and then he has been taken on, let's say, on 1st of March, and he have been brought to the magistrate at 11 a.m. on 3rd of March. This is certainly a time more than 24 hours. And let's say it takes 24 hours to travel from Chennai to Delhi. So 24 hours in travel and 24 hours extra have been spent. But what about the third 24 hour? मतलब यहाँ पे 1 से लेके 2 मार्च तक और फिर 2 से लेके 3 मार्च तक. हाँ, this is all right. See, from 1st of March on 11 a.m. at 11 a.m. this person has been arrested in Chennai. One day is completed on 2nd of March, and from 2nd of March, 3rd of March completes another 24 hours. So this 24 hours which has been spent in traveling will be deducted, and by 11 a.m. this person has to be produced in front of the magistrate at any cost. So within 24 hours the person has to be produced in front of the magistrate. Why? So that the legal mind is applied. If we do not apply the legal mind, such a person can remain in jail forever. How will the trial takes place? So a person has a right to defend himself, and for defending himself it is necessary to provide the grounds, it is necessary to provide the legal counsel. Also it is necessary to provide from the side of the state to apply the legal mind on such an arrest. Then comes the fourth rule, which says that any person who has been detained cannot remain in the custody for more than 24 hours without the permission of the magistrate. A magistrate has to give permission to detain a person if the person has to be detained for more than 24 hours. No person can be detained by the enforcement agency or by police without the permission of the magistrate for more than 24 hours. Now these are the things applied on criminal justice system. But for example, there are cases relating to civil matters where a person is not produced in front of the magistrate but in front of the civil court. Then this 24-hour clause and such things are not should not be applied. It will be applied according to another code. On taxation matters, these clauses are not applied. So these are especially for the criminal cases. Now there is an exception. Exception that these two clauses of Article 22 has not to be applied to aliens, enemy state, citizens of enemy state. Any enemy state which is there and their citizen comes in the country and they have been arrested by the police because of some mischief they have done, some criminal activity which they have taken part into, and they have been arrested. So it is not necessary to tell him the ground. It is also not necessary to produce the person in front of the magistrate within 24 hours. Of course, a legal counsel will be provided to such a person. For example, the Mumbai attack, if we see, there were 10 terrorists which came from Pakistan. One of them was left, 9 of them were killed. Ajmal Kasab was arrested. He was produced in front of the court and was given a legal counsel by the state, so that the whole criminal justice system and the sanctity of it remains, that the person has undergone a proper trial before he was convicted. That is important for a country to maintain its law and order. Not only the law and order, but the sanctity of the legal system, criminal justice system. So he have been arrested, but such grounds have not to be applied on the citizens of the enemy state who does some mischief and then been arrested. Also, the person who have been detained under preventive detention, these grounds are not strictly applied to them also. Why? Because these grounds are applied for criminal cases, and in preventive detention what ends up happening, the person may not have committed anything, no criminal activity, nothing, but just on the presumption that such a person can cause law and order problem in future, the person has been arrested. These are the rights given to person who has committed a crime or have been thought to have committed the crime, but he have been accused of committing such a crime. It is not proved, he has to be considered as innocent only, but under investigation it has been seen that such a person has committed something, some sort of a crime. So few legal provisions have been made in favor of such a person, but that does not extend to the preventive detention case. So these are 4 cardinal principles, and the state have all the duty to provide all these things, the grounds, the counsel, and if the state is unable to provide all these necessary information to the person who have been detained, such an arrest can be declared as null and void by the court. But if such information which is in the public interest, which the state thinks that must not be extended to the criminal or to the legal counsel of the criminal, then under Article 22 Clause 6, such information can be protected and not to be given to the criminal by the state. Only if such an information is in favor of the national security, in the public interest, only those, or else all the necessary materials have to be provided. If the person asks for any additional material, that also has to be provided. Similar thing happens in preventive detention case also. Let's say if a person has been detained by the state on the pretext or the presumption that such a person may cause public disorder, then what ends up happening? You have to immediately tell him the grounds on which this person have been arrested. The grounds cannot be vague, they have to be very specific, pointing out the exact information on the basis of which this person has been detained. Then immediately this person has to be given a legal counsel, so that he can make his defense, so that the legal counsel can represent him in the court of law. And such a person cannot be detained for more than 3 months. Once 3-month period is over, the state has to leave that person. The gates of the jail has to be opened up for him, not to go inside but to go outside. Okay. 3 months, and if you have to extend this preventive detention for more than 3 months, then an advisory board has to be constituted. This advisory board will consist of members who are eligible to become the judges of the High Court. Those people will take decision on the material facts, whether such a person needs to be put under custody for more than 3 months or not, or else the person has to be acquitted. Now if Parliament makes a law and Parliament says that for such an such activity which may take place in future, a person can be detained, and to protect the public order, a person can be detained, and for such an activity they keep the period of preventive detentions as 6 months, then this clause does not apply. The law made by Parliament, that will prevail, not this 3-month period. So Parliament by law can extend this period beyond 3 months also. This is the basic thing. The Parliament has the power to extend this period beyond 3 months also. Let's say Parliament makes it 6 months. What will happen? Then after 6 months an advisory board has to be made, which will then consist of the people who are eligible to become the High Court judges, and they will take the decision whether the preventive detention of such a person has to be extended beyond 6 months or not. So basically the law as of now is 3 months. The person put under preventive detention needs to be told about the grounds on which he has been detained, needs to be given a legal counsel of his choice. The similar thing which happens here, but need not to be produced in front of a magistrate within 24 hours, because these are for the criminal activities. These are for criminal activities. Preventive detention is totally for another matter. So this is all about article number 22. Article 22 is nothing but an extension of article 21. How can we say that? Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty. It has been given a negative connotation in the constitution that the state must not take away, except by the procedure established by law, the life and liberty of any person. But through several judgments and legal interpretations of the Supreme Court, the connotation has also become positive, that the state has to protect the life and the personal liberty of a person. Security is given to person who has threat against his life. What is that? Article 21. State is trying to protect Article 21. Your life, your liberty has to be protected. So it has both the negative and the positive connotation. Article 21 is very broad. It is not only limited to free person, but also is given to the people who have been arrested or who have been detained. So what will be the right of the person who have been arrested? Is he arrested in a just manner? Is he arrested in a reasonable, proper manner on the reasonable, proper grounds, or the grounds are vague, or the law is fancy, or the procedure was childish? Such a thing cannot be done, because this Article 22 gives huge power in the hand of the state to arrest and to detain anybody. And for that reason it has been put under part 3rd of the Constitution, so that once a administration utilizes their power of arrest and detention, some rights of the person who have been arrested and detained has to be mentioned. How such a person can protect himself, how such a person can not be a tool in hand of the administration to be exploited. Think about if none of these provisions were applicable. State and a detaining officer can detain anybody under preventive detention for any period, but the period cannot extend for more than 3 months. Then an advisory board will come. There they have to be produced in front of magistrate. Cannot detain such a person for more than 24 hours, or the bail will be given without the permission of the magistrate. You cannot extend the period of detention or arrest for more than 24 hours. Then the grounds to defend himself. These are all the fundamental rights. Fundamental rights extended to people who have been arrested and detained. So in a way, Article 22 is nothing but an extension of Article 21. So this is our Article 22. Now we will come to freedom of religion, Article 23 and 24 we will cover, and then we will come to freedom of religion 25 to 28, and then further on we will keep going with our polity lectures. Thank you.